If you claim to be a fan of real street rap and you like your artist to rap about what they're actually doing, then you have to be a fan of Tiny Boost. As far as authenticity goes, the guy is premier level. The UK rapper radiates what Peckham represents and what the South London area is about: gangsterism. You know you love Peckham when you decide to release an EP fresh off an 8.5-year holiday and you want to name it strictly for the norm. Then it takes a rapper of Giggs' caliber to tell you being an artist means you have to cater to a broader audience. So change the EP to strictly for the streets. Now Tiny Boost was given his name just like how a lot of street kids were given names. They adopted the moniker from older gangsters who had taken them under the wing and taught them how to make money by any means necessary. Now of course, not all money is good money, and there's always risks involved when you adapt to the street life. But people who operate on that side of the law already know the risks, so it is what it is. So Tiny Boost got his name from a known guy in Peckham called Boost, who was an older. Now Tiny Boost has mentioned in a lot of interviews that his aim in rapping was to get put on by Giggs and join SM1. So when he got the call to join SM1 with the likes of Gunna D, Kais, Joe Grind, it was a simple okay and the music was released. However, at 18 years old in 2009, Tiny Boost was detained by the Met when he travelled outside London, Aylesbury, to meet some sellers and he made a purchase. He brought a pistol. Now once the money was exchanged and Tiny Boost and his mates had the item, they got back in the car and had planned to make their way back to Peckham for a street party. However, a few minutes after the set-off, plainclothes officers performed a hard stop manoeuvre on Tiny's car and jammed the car in so no one could escape. Now officers then pulled Tiny Boost and his mates out of the car and made them sit on the pavement while the car was searched, and of course the pistol was found in a Nike shoebox stuffed inside a JD bag along with rounds. Now Tiny Boost mentioned that the Met had built up a case on him for some time and they were just waiting for an opportunity to pounce. Imagine being on your knees in Aylesbury and people are trying to fight your corner, telling you you're being too hard on these guys, let them go, they haven't done anything wrong. And then a police officer stands up and waves the JD bag around and says, what about this? And then they're showing the pistol. You know that you're already jammed. So, because Tiny Boost was who he was, he's tied to the Peckham boys and the other activities the Met alleged Tiny was involved in, Tiny Boost was put on IPP. That's how much of a risk he was deemed. Now, a minimum term of 5 years was set, with no release date. Now, Tiny Boost would have to prove to the parole that he would be deemed safe in order to return back to civilised society. Now, because Tiny Boost's name came up again and again in so many documents surrounding the Peckham boys and the Ghetto Boys situation, there was no way Tiny Boost would go from a normal jail to immediate release after 5 years. Now, 5 years into the sentence, Tiny Boost was now in open jail, which meant he could go on day releases and overnight releases. Now, while he was on one of these releases, he recorded a freestyle. Now, that freestyle was dropped and it caught the wind of the parole officers. Now, they used his lyrics and said criminal activity again, which meant he would be shipped back to normal prison. Now, another 18 months went by. He was then shipped back to open jail, and now he knew he couldn't release any music anymore because everybody would be listening and they would use it as ammunition against him. Now, it would be another 17 months before Tiny Boost would be released, thus making it 8.5 years he spent in jail at the age of 18 years old. And you know what? He never folded, he never cracked, he took it on the chin and continued. And still to this day, the guy is Peckham through and through. Stay safe, safe.